Hey, King Reaper Gaming, I'll be with you shortly. Hey, Catchy guys, I'll be with you guys in a minute. I'm just literally sorting this out. Just had a slight technical issue, so I will be back in a minute.
To manage my credit limit.
Okay, I'll leave that bit out for today. I don't know what's happened to that. I thought I had it there, but it's not picking up that image now. No, no, it did yesterday when we done it. Don't know why it's not picking up today. And I haven't got time to sort it. So, mm, um, yeah. So, what we got today is obviously Everton battle bottom. Um, we've got um, Rashford, and that's just a talking point from some of the bits that's been on Sky Sports News today over the last few days. The fight for the top four, or Champions League spot, should I say, rather than top four. Champions League, um, and then um, Champions League. What happened during midweek?
Oh, I've got nothing on the Champions League.
Yeah,
I have.
it's only the results, Rick. Anyway, and basically what people think. So it's nothing major.
Okay, literally all I brought to the table this week is the relegation battle. Obviously that's what I sent you a message
Yeah,
earlier saying who believes in it. So literally what I've done is I reckon Watford and Norwich are already down. So what I've done is put the remaining fixtures for Burnley and Everton down, which, as we're aware, they played last night and Burnley fucking won it in the end.
yeah.
So there's only a point between them. Both have 9 games left to play, but I do believe Everton have the harder running, and that's where I'm going to end up taking that. I've got all the fixtures down and ready and waiting, and I'll run
Cool.
them by you. You guys
So
can then discuss it after
the
I've
other
run them
stuff
off.
is I don't think you need any details. I think it's just discussion points. So Rashford from the point of across Sky Sports over this week, some of the big pros have been saying it's Rashford's time up. Should he leave Man United to restart his career? Tout, they said, Paul Merson was saying he'd be a good fit at Arsenal. Arsenal should come in for him, and someone else was bring him at Tottenham. So just around that,
No, Arsenal are meant to be the favourites in that
yeah.
race.
So we'll
So
talk
from
about
what
that.
I've
Champions League is literally just a result of what happened at the weekend. Extra bit that I'm just going to add in is what people think about Ten Hag coming to Man United as their choice. Is he going to make a difference? Do you think he's the right person to make the change into that team? Who knows? Um, and then we can have a quick discussion of some big games this weekend that could, and I think some will come out from the Everton discussion with Everton playing Man United at 12:30, with Burnley playing Norwich on Sunday, I think, or Saturday afternoon, one or the other. Um, could Everton be in the
it was
bottom?
more the case that I was going to point out that Everton still have to play United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and
Yes,
Arsenal.
and Leicester
Uh,
twice.
and Leicester twice. That's what I wanted to point out. And then Burnley literally only have Tottenham and probably Villa twice. Oh, and West Ham. That's
Yeah.
it.
So
That was what.
so it'll be just a discussion point, and that would just be all discussion points, and we'll all have difference of opinion. Um, on it. So it's just a case of just discussing those points, and we'll all have different opinion about it. One will say one, something other. I'll say no. So it'd just be round that area, um, and we'll pick that up. But yeah, so it's all good. I think it's just a different point to it, a different strategy to talk about some of the stuff. And what I'll say going forward is what I'm using. I guess I'm using Sky Sports as my base, not for results, but what the main topic discussion points are happening on Sky Sports over the week, just to see whether there's some things that we can bring into that will make a good discussion within our show here. the kind of thing. It's because obviously a lot of the good pros are bringing up certain stuff. A lot of it, to be fair, is Gary Neville and Keno and a few other about Man. But I don't make it all about Man United. So I'm looking for other things that are coming up in the conversations.
Told you, you need to be looking at content like from people that like ourselves.
Yeah. So it's just a case of just finding out different stuff to bring in to talk that will make that difference. Damn, I didn't think we're getting some people in on Trovo as well today. Um, Waiting in the queue. So we're dual today, Klaus. So we're live um, on Twitch and Trovo today, just to see what we get from Trovo. See if there is an intake from that side of it. And we've had two people that are not anyone that normally comes in already sitting there waiting. So we'll see what comes out of it. And we've got a few already waiting inside the Twitch as well. So it'll be good to involve the chats from both sides into that and see how that comes across to what we do. So yeah, so that'll be the gist of the conversation today, and then we'll see how it goes. And then obviously we'll have the interaction from each section. I'll stop at just to get chat's point of view before we go into anything else. Just see what chat have to say, and bring in some of their questions, etc., that they may want to bring in from their side of it as well. All good. And obviously, yeah, you've got your bit about the Celtic Rangers.
No,
Bit.
I think that's just like the topping on the cake, and the fucking. Sometimes I feel it's not just them type of games, though, is it? We've all seen fucking
Yeah.
fans do shit that we're definitely not proud of, and now it's coming to the fact that if fans are able to moan at their hierarchy because they don't do this and don't do that, then you need to be held accountable for your own actions as well. And
Indeed.
from what Dylan actually gave me the inside scoop on that. Funny enough, it looks like the fans. He might be banned from going to another game, but he actually only got a slap on the wrist when it comes to society. So yeah, it's a bit of a piss take, because I can guarantee if one of us went into public and started throwing glass bottles at other people, it would be deemed a lot higher threat level than what that was, considering it's at a football game where you've got police and stewards that
There is now, Gilly. Sorry, guys, I had it on mute, so I'll start again. Welcome to the Magic Talk Show. Rookie mistake. um, welcome to the chat show, guys. Thank you all for coming. We're live on Trovo and Twitch today. So welcome, ex Vody, George, Mag. Cheers, Gilly, for the winner. And Kazmastor, Taylor, Gaz, King Reaper, Dragon Wisdom, welcome to the show. Obviously, as with myself here today, we've got my boy the Clown in the house, and we also got my boy Nutty D in the house. Obviously, they're going to either disagree with me, or I'm going to disagree with them, or they're going to disagree with each other with some of the conversations we have today. Today's topics are going to be around Everton first. Are they going to get relegated? Do they stand a chance to fight? Are they in a form where they can't get out? We're going to talk about Marcus Rashford's career. We're going to bring up the Champions League, fight for Champions League in the Premier League. We're going to look at the weekend results and obviously just quickly brush past Man United's potential new manager coming in. And then I've got Clown with some news on some stuff that isn't acceptable in football. Just to have a quick discussion over what happened in the Scottish derby this weekend. And also, Nutty's got a little bit of transfer news from the Championship to involve Liverpool and Fulham. So he's going to bring that into the mix. And chat with each section, we will stop to involve you guys to have your say. So when we start, if you've got any questions, your opinions, they all matter to us to bring to the panel, which we can bring up. So that is it. That's the show today. So I'm going to start off with Everton. So last night they had a massive 6-point game against Burnley, which they lost 3-2, which they had to win with the way the league table's looking. And from my point of view, Nutty and Clown, I see them going down. I think they're on a run of. I think they're in a bit where they don't know how to win anymore. And I also don't think Lampard will survive the season. That's a statement I'm making here right now. So I'll bring it over to you, Clown, for this bit. What's your thoughts on Everton and the fighting relegation battle on what's happening?
Everton's a hard one, like I didn't stand by your Newcastle prediction back at Christmas, but this one I think you might actually have some solid facts behind it. I don't know what's going on with them, but yeah, they're just not the force that they were. But now, as you said, last night they played Burnley away, I would like to add. So it's never an easy place to go, but they still looked poor. How they scored 2 goals, I will never know. But looking at the
right?
table,
so there were penalties, both of them.
But even then, they never created something.
No.
So what I meant by that was if you just looked at the score and was 3-2. Nah, how the hell did Everton score 2 goals? These guys haven't been able to score all season. Granted, okay, as an Arsenal fan, I have to keep my mouth shut, but it's one of them that they're now sat there, 29 played and 25 points. And Burnley, after that game, are now played 29, 24 points. Both have 9 games. And let's just give you a little taste of what Everton still have to go up against in these remaining 9 games. They've got to play Man United at home. They've got to play Leicester at home. They've got to play Liverpool away, Chelsea at home, Leicester away again. Some might call it a break, but then they've got to play Watford, Brentford and Palace, who, let's face it, Watford is in their zone, but Brentford and Palace are still going to be tough games. And then their last game of the season is away to Arsenal. I'm going to have to agree with you, Magic. I'm not going to lie, and I know that might be hard to hear, but I really don't see a way out for him. And yet Burnley just seem to have that fight about them recently. And I'm not going to lie, their games are Norwich, West Ham, Southampton, Wolves, Watford, Villa, Tottenham, Villa, and then Newcastle. Now, I'm not going to lie, who do you think's got the easier running when it comes to it and there's only a point separating them?
Yeah, I agree on that basis. That um, that I don't think Everton. I've said it. I don't think Everton survived this. And then don't get me wrong. As a Liverpool fan, I would laugh my head off. Right, as a Liverpool fan, I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, this is the best thing that can happen." But kind of thing. But if you're looking, if I take Liverpool out of it and you look at it as just a genuine football thing, Everton getting relegated is a big thing.
Well, it's going to be another one of them, like when Blackburn got relegated. Like, to me, it's going to feel like you've had someone stay in the Premier League that long. You're actually shocked to see them go down, especially like Everton, and you've seen it at Aston Villa recently, these past couple of years, and even Wolves to a certain extent. They've actually put a lot of money into their team and their squad. And you're sat there thinking, how did you manage to put all the money in and now you're getting relegated?
Yeah, Nutty, what's your intake on this?
I agree with Everton are down. I don't see where they're going to pick up apart from the Watford game. Don't see where they pick up enough points to survive. When you look at the fixtures at the weekend, Everton are playing Man United at home. Where do you see them even winning against them? And Burnley playing Norwich. If Burnley win, Everton are in the bottom three. So again, that puts a whole new twist on it because it'll be a place Everton haven't ever been before. In terms of Burnley, this is the normal for Burnley. This is what they do every single season. This is what, everyone expects this from Burnley. Even Burnley expect this. And Burnley always find a way to pull themselves out of it. They are so experienced at this. I can see Watford beating Everton myself when they play. Well, I 100%. I said it ages ago to Magic Dinner that Everton will go down this season, and I still stand by it. I just don't see where they find anything to win any of these games. I just can't see it at all.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I only put Everton down to maybe, luckily, getting 2 to 4 points out of their remaining knocks. And I thought that was me being generous, if I'm going to be honest.
And I'm with you, Clan. I pretty much had the same. I only saw between 2 to 4 points, and that was probably a win at against Watford possible, and maybe
a draw at
Brentford. Yeah, and that's pretty much all when I looked at that list with the Leicesters and the Arsenal and Chelsea, I couldn't see how they were gonna pull a victory out of that anywhere else in those fixtures.
Don't get me wrong, Burnley could hit a slip-up result, but I don't see it, if I'm going to be honest.
And I said I've been watching some of the Everton games recently, even through the hype. It's not even about they've got home advantage. They don't look any good at home than they do away. So it's not like they've got the home advantage doing them any favours. It's not. They literally, and I think Sean Dyche said it perfectly yesterday in his interview when he said about his half-time team talk with his team. He goes, I think they've forgotten how to win. It's got that bad for them that they have forgotten what winning's like or how to win a game. And that came pointing when they lost the second half.
Problem was the fact that they sold Wood.
But again, has Wood done anything at Newcastle? No.
It's not about what he's doing at Newcastle. It's about what he was doing at Burnley. He fit the system that Sean plays.
Yeah.
He was that target man. He wasn't pushed around. He would win everything in the air. He would gamble at that back post. And that's the strike of that. And that's where I feel like Burnley went wrong this season. When you take something as pivotal as that role in a system that has proven year in, year out that, okay, we're not going to challenge, but we are going to cause upsets. We are going to be hard to break down, and you are not coming to an away game here and walking all over us. Let's face it, the likes of City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, etc., have all struggled going to Burnley. They've always been that team, and that's why I believe that. I think now they've started to find their rhythm again, that there is life after Wood. So for them, it's one of them that they're now looking at it going, well, exactly how we said it. You look at them run of games, and
Clown, can I
Burnley are
pause for
going to
1
look
second?
at them
I've just been
thinking that
raided.
they're playing City every week.
Just pause you for 1 second, Clown. Froggy, thank you for the raid. Hello, Raiders. Thank you for coming. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Magic Sports Talk. Please interact if you're into sports. We're talking about soccer. If you're from the USA, it's football in the UK. I know, Clown, you hate me saying it. I know you. I have to just make sure I put it right, Clown. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Froggy. Love you for that raid. So going back to what you're saying, Clown, yeah, I agree with you that Burnley selling Wood maybe, but the striker they bought was just as tall, and I think he's been doing well. If you watched him yesterday, he was putting himself about.
Yeah, no, obviously, that just proves my point that Sean has the same system, and it clearly did not work without that target man. Okay. Yes, it's probably taken him time to warm up to the Premier League. We're all well aware of the demand in the Premier League compared to other leagues in the world. But yeah, no, I think this is one discussion that I don't think you're going to hear many grumbles throughout the whole footballing world. Everton have fallen apart, and everybody. Well, like I said earlier, when you counted Newcastle out at Christmas. And look at where they are now. It's one of them that there was enough time to get out, and I don't think these 9 games remaining for Everton, especially who they're against, has done them any favours.
Yeah. So chat, I'm going to come to you now. People in chat. If I'm going to say to you, is Liverpool a yes or no from you guys? Do you think Everton will make it? Will stay in the Premiership this season? So, from everything we've just pointed out to you and with the games they've got, do you think Everton will stay up or go down? Let us have your opinion on that, and we'll come back to it.
Imagine that Everton go to Anfield and beat you, and they destroy your title hopes and save their Premier League dream all in one game.
Could be. But also, it could be, Everton come to you last game of the season, beat you, stay up and take away your Champions League spot. So don't even go there.
That Magic, that could be where he's thinking that Everton get their couple of points is when they play them.
So chat. So we've got. So yes, guys. So there's always something to come back.
Gaz, don't egg him on. He doesn't need that help. That's why he's got none here. Jesus.
So
one person I can't talk back to.
So hey D. So D, if you've just joined, the bit we're asking chat right now is D. Do you think Everton will stay up or will they go down? Is the question. That's true, Gilly. I give you that. I give you that fact. I give you that fact that where the underdogs think it's an easy game to turn up. I give you that, but
I don't think Gilly's been watching Everton play their football right now.
And Dylan, yes. So okay, Dylan. So Gaz is saying they'll go down. I'm assuming that's what you're saying, Gaz. That they'll go down again. Guys on Trover, get involved in. If you think Everton stay up or stay down, just say.
I'm not going to lie. If Everton stay up, then Jesus, hats off to you. Fair play, because I really, as I said, I don't think the footballing world is actually going to see them staying up no matter what.
When you look into the,
go on, Nay.
When you look into that, the squad a bit more, the Everton squad, and you look at every other Premier League side, every squad has a leader or a group of leaders. where do you see them in the Everton side? Like,
What's his name at the back is generally the one leader
Keane.
that I've always Keane. That's the one. But to me, he's the same thing that I see wrong with Arsenal most of the time. He is that young. He's that naive.
yeah. And this is
Yes,
what I'm saying,
you
like,
are a leader, and you can shout as loud as anyone. You can lead on that pitch, but you're only a couple of seconds away from a hot-headed decision that could see you get booked, or give away a penalty, or get a red card. That's the type of player that I see Keane at the minute. I think, no, I do believe Nutty's right there. I really can't honestly say that I see many leaders
Like,
compared to the old Everton sides. You'd like
when
to
you exactly when you go through like the old players, you know, like
Leighton
Uncle
Baines
Ferguson's and
Howard. And
players like that.
definitely.
Where are they now? When you really need someone to grab the team by the balls and get in their face and scream and, you know, and tell them no messing about, get it out, sort of thing. There ain't really like anyone.
Well, I think
Yeah.
the only leader there is the one that's actually the one that's meant to be running them.
And
If I'm going to be honest,
like, I'm just reading a thing now where like Everton fans are discussing what's going on and some of the things they are saying. You know, they're
oh
bringing
yeah,
up,
no,
Like
some
what,
of it's been
like
toxic.
What, share it with the chat.
like you've got one of them here. It says there are no leaders, no characters. It's just very average footballers that Frank Lampard has to work with. Things like set pieces. If you haven't got a dominant player in your team, which we probably could have brought in during January, we didn't. We went and wasted
Well, I'm not being
resources.
funny. Lampard made Derby competitive. Chelsea was still competitive under Lampard, so it's not like Lampard is a bad manager.
No.
And if anyone, it's
So going by chat, obviously Gaz said go down, Dylan said go down, and Gilly. Yeah, I get your point. What you're saying, Gilly. I understand what you're saying. Like sometimes the big teams against the underdog. You're not talking specific about Everton. So there are games where the bigger team will turn up at a game thinking it's a walkover and then slip up. So yeah, and that happens a bit in the Premier League. You know, you do have those games.
Oh yeah, and that's why I definitely added the fact that there could be a slip-up result there.
Yeah.
Say Everton do get maybe a draw at Leicester, or like you said, get a draw against Arsenal in the last game of the season, or a win. It can happen. We know it can happen.
So Gilly, so just to explain where Everton are. So Everton are one of the clubs that have been in the Premier League since it started, and they are so basically the bottom three teams go down. Gilly, they're fourth from bottom and only 1 point above that relegation zone to get relegated. They played the team below them
Last night
and
lost 3-2.
and they lost to them. So that gap now closes. And when you look at Everton's running compared to the teams below them, they've got a tougher running.
It's like Nutty said, weren't it? Like this Saturday, Man United play Everton and Burnley have to play Norwich, who we've already said have been relegated since Christmas. So who do you see finishing the weekend in the relegation zone? And I never thought of it like that. And Nutty bringing that up actually made me think, Jesus, by the end of the weekend, the Premier League is going to probably look completely different.
Yeah,
and not just that. Once you get in that bottom three, with so many games left to play as well, you know,
and that's what they always say. And that once you reach that 30 mark, they always say it's such a struggle. Now I hear that definitely.
And that's it. So I think we were having a conversation earlier on, me and Nutty, and said once Everton are in that 3, I don't think they've got it in them to get out.
Especially with the next games coming up. Like they lose to Man United, Burnley win, you're sitting there thinking, we'll go to next week. Oh, what? Leicester at home. Yay. Yeah. What about the week after? Liverpool away. Yeah. No, it's not looking good for us, boys. I'm not going to lie, as a footballer myself, if I was looking at that fixture, every game is a big game and a cup final. But like Nutty said, when you look at the mentality and look at what their own fans are saying about them, and that's where you've got to really look to. These are the people that watch them week in, week out. And if these people can see it, then the rest of the world, footballing world, saw it a long time ago. Because let's face it, we'll stand by our team, regardless of good or bad. we're the ones that have to admit it finally to ourselves. It's not the footballing world. They already knew, because they do look at it from the outside in.
Yeah, so question I put to you, and I'll put it to chat as well. So across chat, it's a simple question again. I'll start with you, Nutty, on this. Does Lampard make the season as the Everton manager?
I think
I
that'd
don't,
be stupid.
I don't see what changing manager at this point in the season is going to achieve. If I'm being honest, there's obviously a bigger issue somewhere within the club for it to even have got this far. And I think, if anything, bringing a manager now, is he going to want to manage in a championship on a cold Friday night at Rotherham away? You know, when you can get someone at Lampard who's got the experience
Rubbing
of
the salt, Nutty.
I'm not
but
just speaking
Nutty's
facts,
not,
mate. Manage,
Nutty's not far from the truth.
if you're a chairman of a football club and you're trying to convince a manager to come and take over that shit show that's happening there at the moment, and you're telling him what you've got 9 games to keep us up, and you
Can I
can work
maybe
with the
add
squad
another
you've
point
got. Go on.
that we've not actually thought about? So we've seen the drop in Chelsea due to all this Abramovich stuff with the Russian and stuff like that. If you remember rightly, Arsenal's majority sharer,
And Luna, thank you for the gifted, bro.
when he went to Everton. And I know from what I've been told, they went through a lot of the crap that Chelsea have had to, but less because he wasn't the main majority holder for Everton. He was actually one of like the endorsers. He just gave money, but surely that's got to have had some effect on Everton as well. Because if we've seen it happen to Chelsea, and let's face it, their form has dipped massively since this whole Abramovich thing happened and the Russia and Ukraine war. It's been madness for them. So maybe it's taken its toll on Everton as well. And especially at a really bad time for them as well, when, as we said, it's not just on the pitch, but maybe it's off the pitch issues as well.
I mean, possibly, but again, when you look at what managers are you going to convince at this stage of the season?
Yeah.
Who?
That's what I was just about to agree
and
with
then
you.
going to convince them, oh yeah, by the way, you'll be playing in a championship, you know, tough league, Friday nights away at Rotherham, or, you know, Preston North. This is just, you know, they're going to have to sell players. They are not going to keep Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin. They're not. Michael Keane. They're not going to keep them. They are going to have to sell players.
Because
which means that they get rid of Lampard.
No, it's a I don't know. So that's my friend. I don't
think it's right getting rid of Lampard. To be honest with you,
I don't think.
In my brain, I would sit there and tell you keeping Lampard would be the best thing for them.
Yeah, I think keep him.
I disagree.
And give him to work. Let him work next season with how he worked things at Derby, etc. And I think he could get them back up. I don't think keep him in charge for the next Premiership season.
Yeah, I don't think it's that simple. But if you're going to keep Lampard, then you need to be looking at keeping the squad.
No.
Yes, they need to add to the squad. But if you sell Calvert-Lewin, you sell Keane, you sell Richarlison, you sell what's his name at fullback? I always liked him as well. But yeah, you start selling them. Then what is the point in having someone like Lampard?
Okay, so
because I don't believe that if you're going to sell all of them, what you're bringing in isn't going to give them something to challenge for winning a league that's even longer than the Premier League.
Okay, so I'm going to put a flip on this. So I went and done a little bit of research today. Yes, I did do a bit of research for once. If you look at it. So Everton players, no Everton player has got a relegation clause in their contract to take a wage cut. Not one player in that squad has got a relegation contract where they have to take a wage cut if they get relegated. So from
and what's the betting he's one of their academies?
Hey,
what's the betting that person came through the ranks?
No, so basically what it is, every player if anyone got relegated, and
I understand what it is, but I just like the fact that, as you said, it's just one player out of their whole squad.
No player has. Not one
I
single
swear you
player.
just said one.
There's no single player. Every single player in that first, I say the first 11 or their main squad has got a contract where they
They have a
take a
main
wage
squad.
cut for relegation because they never planned for that. They never thought they'd ever be in that. So they'd never put in their contract for any of their players that should we get relegated, you would take a 50% pay cut. So when they go into the championship, to make sure they meet everything financially, they will have to sell to lower their wage cap ban and everything else because it doesn't meet the criteria for the
Yeah,
championship
but
as well.
selling Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin in the same window, because I can only imagine. Well, actually, I could imagine Iwobi stays there. As much as he's an Arsenal graduate, I never believed he was good enough in an Arsenal shirt. But I don't see keeping Lampard. Keeping Lampard is part of the puzzle. If you want to mount a return to the Premier League next season, keeping Lampard is a part of that puzzle. But keeping this squad as much together as you possibly can is what is the other parts of that jigsaw.
Yeah, but I see Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Dele Alli. There's a few players, not saying all of them.
Is Dele Alli a full signing at Everton?
Yeah, I think so. I thought they paid 40 mil for him. I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong, but I thought they paid 40 mil for him. That was one of the players they signed.
I thought he was on loan.
If he's on loan, then that's a blessing for them because they've saved themselves some money. Because he's been.
I thought it was like one of them Jesse Lingard to West Ham things. So Gilly, like, yeah, to a certain extent. So these players, like Magic said to you, so Everton have been in the Premier League as long as the Premier League has been called the Premier League as such. Never been a top team, never been a winning team, but they were always ones that could put in a solid performance. They were always ones that when you went to Goodison Park, you never took for granted 3 points at all. But this season, and yes, Arsenal being one of them that have failed to go to Goodison and win, but regardless of who they're playing, home or away, they're just losing.
And going back, Everton did sign Ali on a permanent 2.5 year deal, 40 million.
No, I thought so.
Plus performance-related add-ons.
Well, I hate to say it, Dele Alli I never thought was good enough either. So it's one of them.
So again,
and that's not just. And I didn't actually think he was that good at MK Dons. If people want to get at me because he's a Tottenham or an ex-Tottenham player, that's my general truth. So yeah, I do know my facts and I know my history. So Dele Alli was never good enough.
So I'll go back to what we were saying. Welcome, Mr. Natilio. Going back to what I was saying is that Championship, I think they will sell, and I don't think I know what you were saying that and Clown you said as well. Keep Lampard there, but I don't think there'll be a team that comes straight back up. Championship is tough. It's not that easy.
And that's what I mean. So what are you really going to part with? Are you going to part with the manager or are you going to part with the players? And as you just said, they've got to sell players to keep in with the FPP. So therefore, they're going to have to keep one of them. And as you just said, they've already got to sell. So keeping the manager, whether it be a year, so be it. But you have to keep something. Otherwise, I'm not even sure what Everton's future is going to hold.
I'm going to flip it on you, Clown, because I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it outright. Is what has Lampard achieved as a manager at any club?
But that's not what we're getting at here.
No, we are. We're saying Lampard bring back up, but he couldn't. He had to put him back up. He didn't do anything at Chelsea. He got the sack until someone else came in.
This is the manager that literally cut all the deadwood out of Chelsea and then it handed over to Thomas.
But he couldn't get him to perform.
Technically, he's added maybe 2 or 3 signings to.
Yeah, but he couldn't get them to perform. That's why they brought someone to get them to perform.
So flip it like this then.
Get them to form. These Chelsea and Everton are 2 totally different structures. The fact is Chelsea players should have pulled their fucking own fingers out and play to the standards of which they were bought for. Let's now face it, if you were going to put Everton's starting 11 and Chelsea's starting 11, I'm sure you would see a lot of zeros on the end of the millions spent to put them teams together, which therefore to me means that regardless whether it's Tuchel or Lampard, these players are good enough to play football in any system to whatever standard that you have set. And at Chelsea, as we were aware, it's a high standard.
Okay, so I'm gonna come back. I'll come back to you in a minute, Natty. 1 second, Natty. I'll come back to you.
Lampard can do the job that Everton need doing right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna come back to that in a minute. So and back to you, Natty. So Gaz has said Lampard's a player, not a manager for me. He won't win much, to be fair. Natty, what were you going to say on that piece? On the piece me and Clown were talking about?
I mean, is Lampard top quality manager material? No. When you compare him to the likes of Gerrard. But when you flip it and go back to what he achieved at Derby County, right? You know, the loan players he brought in, he had quite a bit of success at Derby in terms of the way they played, where they finished in the league. He went to Chelsea, but he went to Chelsea when they was in the middle of a transfer embargo. He wasn't allowed to do what he wanted with the squad. He had to work with what he had to work with, and that was it.
This is a guy that had Abraham up front.
I'm not taking that.
No, right. No, listen.
Mason Mount, fresh from Derby County.
He's gone from Chelsea, and now he's at Everton, right? He's gone and he's working with another man's team. It's not how he wants to. He's gone in and he's trying to rescue something. He's already gone into the sinking ship, trying to pull them up. He hasn't got the credentials or the experience to do that, I don't think.
And I don't even think that they gave him a bucket to try and get the water out of this shit.
There you go.
They gave him a teaspoon.
My thinking of it is, if and when they go down, in my opinion, I think, you know, given the fact that he's already managed in the Championship, he could be the man that gets them back up. If they can keep a core group of players together,
we said this about Newcastle when they got Thingy in, and this is one of the things that we said about him. Oh, why did they bring him in? Oh, what if Newcastle go down, as he's proven with Bournemouth? He can fly through the Championship and come straight back up again. Granted, he's got Newcastle out of the relegation. But maybe Lampard is a future project. Everton know, like Nutty said, okay, let's face it, if we stay up, miracles do happen. But if we go down, as you're well aware and as everyone else is well aware, you're saying goodbye to probably the best 5% of your team. And all of them, as we're aware and as Nutty can say, when you've got a goal scorer, it's amazing to get up and keep up that high position and that high play. But they've got two of them, and you're telling me they're going to sell them both.
Yeah.
So really, who's their Mitrovic for next season?
It depends, I guess, who they come and buy. Because I think, obviously, I'm not going to talk about transfers now. But I think there'll be teams coming in for Richarlison. I think there'll be teams coming for Calvert-Lewin. I know Newcastle already said they'll offer 50 mil or something for him to come to Newcastle next season. So, you know, I think there'll be clubs for them. But going on the Everton thing, so I think we're all three in agreement on Everton that we say they're going down, right?
Yeah.
I don't think any one of us or the chat in any way. Oh, damn.
As I said, if miracles do happen, hats off to you. That's all I've got to say.
Okay, so
I do agree with that. Lampard is a better player than he is a manager, but at the same time, you got to understand that the position that he was put in going to Everton is one of them.
Yeah. So okay, we agree, and obviously I think chat pretty much agree on that Everton will go down. Yeah. That Everton aren't staying up on that. So chat and obviously the next thing we've got is I was reading, going through some of the articles kind of thing on what we saw, and one of the big discussion points that comes from there was Marcus Rashford, and I think the two questions were, well, one was is Rashford's time at Man United up? And two, should he leave to reignite his career? So, Nutty, I'll start with you on this one first. Marcus Rashford, what's your opinion on Marcus Rashford and on those two, based on those two questions?
A career move would do him good, but at the same time, if there's a new manager coming in, he has the chance to rejuvenate his career at Man United if the system that they play suits him. At the moment in time, I don't think the system is suiting him because you've got Ronaldo in that side, you've got Sancho. You know, I think it depends on really the new manager comes in if he can adapt this system for Rashford as well.
So on that, I would say that Man United have gone through several managers over the last few seasons, and Rashford's been there and not got a look in and not been playing. And I think someone said it on Sunday's game. I think it was Gary Neville actually said it on Sunday's game. He goes, you look at what the manager said. He goes, I had a choice between Pogba and Rashford. So he had a choice of putting a striker up front or play Pogba. He does play with no strikers and put Pogba in. And we're going, and that didn't make sense. He didn't even get a look in to even play up front when they had no strikers available. Ronaldo was out, Cavani was out, etc., and they played with no striker, and where he could have fitted in or gone in that system. So I just think he's lost his mojo, and I think a move would do him good. And I don't think whether a manager comes in or not, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. But my opinion, he should be making to reignite his career to make a move. And I said the names that I touted about throughout this are Arsenal and Tottenham. And Clan, and we'll come to you, Clan, on that bit, because I know back before we stopped the show for a little break, we had this discussion, and you said you would not want Rashford at Arsenal at that time.
Right. When Rashford first came in, I remember watching his debut for Man United. I remember him scoring in that. I remember only maybe whatever it was weeks later, him getting his debut for England and scoring in less than 5 minutes in that one. An amazing goal as well, I might like to add. This kid is technically gifted. Like, that's nor here or there. But when he came into a Man United side, wasn't it on the sheer fact that they didn't have anyone? It was kind of forced upon them to play this young, breaking into the scene striker that they knew was good, but not quite ready for the main stage. And lo and behold, he was ready for it. And he carried on performing. Now, my issue isn't actually with Rashford. I think the issue is Man United. Now, instead of just accepting that players have good patches, bad patches, and when they're in a good patch, you get everyone around them, you keep that confidence riding high. But then when they're down, you put your arm around them and you go, okay, what the fuck was that? Let's have a look at these last 15 fixtures that we've just played and look how well you played. So what was the difference today? Let's figure it out. And you go at it. But I don't think Man United have done that. Like you said, 7 different managers, all with different philosophies and playing styles and managing styles, to say the least. And that comes down to player management, as far as I'm concerned. And I believe Rashford, like, he's been done unjust. And I can't lie. Man United dropped him just because he had a bad game. But then I remember them all singing his praises when they beat PSG, when everyone counted them out. Like, you can't have it both ways. You've got to accept that little bad games are going to creep in every now and then. And especially for someone that is of his age. He's not even in his prime yet, and people are writing him off already as a player. That's what's actually the joke of all of this.
Guys, thanks a lot, guys.
I think Man United are stupid if they sell him. Real talk. You are goddamn stupid if you sell him. But as an Arsenal fan, if you were going to come to Arsenal, and this is why I disagreed with you at the start, because at that point, we still had Aubameyang, Lacazette, Nketiah, who I still believe isn't good enough and will end up moving on. But we also have the emergence of Balogun. A lot of people like yourselves might not know a lot about him, but...
Is this a guy that come to Middlesbrough?
Yeah, he went to Middlesbrough. And believe me, this kid is a striker and a half. He reminds me a lot of Rooney with the way he's hunger and his technical feet and the way he hits the ball. He's just a hungry animal. And bringing in someone like Rashford, I thought, where are we going to put you? We've just taken all that money off the wage bill to what? Bring in someone else just to take money off, put more money onto the wage bill to sit on what? The bench. And then when he comes on, has a bad game because he's got no game time under his belt. He's rusty as hell. He's got no confidence because Man United screwed him over mentally. The fans at Man United screwed him over mentally. And now we expect him to be Rashford, new beginning. Bam. No, it doesn't work like that. So for me, then, no.
Now?
Because I thought we'd play him out on a wing as well. And that would piss me off because when you look at Arsenal, I see most of our talent that I would like to keep in this team on our wing. Saka, Martinelli, Pepe. These are names that I want to see regularly. I don't want to see Rashford out there. Now, Aubameyang's gone. Nketiah's leaving in the summer. Lacazette is leaving in the summer. Now, if you're going to say to someone, like I just said about Rashford, when he had all them guarantees, Man United were throwing the high contract at him. Shirts were selling left, right, and centre with his name on the back. It bred confidence into him. Now you're told you'll play. Well, now he's not even told he'll play if bloody Ronaldo or Cavani's ill. As you just said, he chose to go with a false number 9, and look how that worked out. It's one of them. You're not doing him any favours. So yes, as an Arsenal fan, and I've spoken to a couple of our other fans as well, and we're actually in agreement. If he was to come to Arsenal on the emphasis he would play up top, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Nutty?
I mean,
2 seconds.
I think a move obviously will rejuvenate his career. I mean, I still in the thing though. A new manager could be what he needs. It's a tough one. Where do you see him fitting in the Tottenham side? You know, if they keep Harry Kane with Son on the left, I don't see it. I think out of the 2 teams you've mentioned, it's only Arsenal he really fits into. But I do think his style of play suits Arsenal.
Chat, if you have an opinion, give us your opinion on Rashford. Should he stay or go to reignite his career from United?
I mean, he can always come to Fulham and play on the left if he wants.
The only other issue that I have with that is if it's up to Rashford, who do you think he would pick? Is it going to be Arteta and Arsenal, or would it be Conte and Tottenham? That's the other question that people need to start asking themselves as well, because ultimately it will come down to Rashford making that choice as well.
I think he'd pick. I think if you look at the prospect of what you've said, both of you, and what Nutty just said, I think he picks Arsenal because I think he's probably guaranteed more football time than he's possibly going to be at Spurs.
Yeah, but you got to also remember
he slots into the Arsenal side
as well. So,
but then again, I guess the summer window will say a big factor because I still believe Harry Kane will leave this summer. Tottenham. So, I think what happens there will impact the rest of the market. And like we said, there's so many big transfers happening right now. You know, you got Pogba on a free, you got Mbappe on a free, you got so much going on. And I'll keep saying it. Newcastle will be sniffing around every mofo going around. Newcastle are going to have their nose in somewhere with every player that's up for grab, including a Rashford. They're going to be sniffing. They're
Yeah,
gonna be they're going to be in all these pots that come up that go forward. So okay, so what's happened here? Sorry, chat. So what we have is Champions League. So race for the top 4. We've got obviously Liverpool and City. They're guaranteed in that top 4. That's already in there. But then you've got Chelsea who are bottoming, and you've got obviously Tottenham who are sitting in 4th right now, but Arsenal sitting in 5th, and then
with a game in hand.
And then you've got, I think it's Tottenham, Arsenal, West Ham, and United. If we're going to say, and I know, don't get me wrong when I say this, Clan, obviously I said it in last week's show. If Arsenal don't make top 4, it's their own fault. But it looks a lot tougher now, even with that game in hand. But that game in hand is against Spurs, right?
Chelsea.
Chelsea, not Spurs. I thought it was Spurs.
No, just the Spurs one had to be reorganised, but the game in hand is actually against Chelsea because they were away at the World Cup.
Right. Okay. So again, another London derby, etc., sitting in there.
But I'd also like to point out Arsenal still have to play everyone that is around us at the minute, so it's one of them.
It's one of them. So if I was going to say to you, so I'm going to start while you're doing what you're doing, Clown, Nutty. If I'm going to say to you who makes the final 2 slots, who would you say? As it stands right now, looking at stuff.
I mean, it's Chelsea's. They're having a dip in form.
I don't think Chelsea are dropping.
I don't see them dropping, to be honest. But they need a response at the weekend.
I think a response is an understatement after the way that I watch Real Madrid.
It's a tough question. That is a tough question.
It's a very tough question.
If I'm going to put you who you saying? If I'm going to say end of season tomorrow, who's in your end of season today? Who's in your top? Who finishes in that top 4?
I genuinely, it's so tight up there. To be honest with you, it's so.
I need an answer, Matty. I need an answer. Who are you gonna gamble? If you're gonna say, I think it's this.
It's so hard because Tottenham are so inconsistent at the moment. And again, Arsenal losing to Palace.
You also got to remember that Arsenal have just lost 2 of their most important players in a week.
This is what's in the back of my head.
Kieran Tierney's got to have knee surgery after Scotland decided to make him play 180 minutes over 2 friendlies. And Thomas Partey is going to be out for minimum of 3 weeks after muscle damage to his right thigh come up in a scan today.
Okay, so Nutty, to help you a bit, I'll give you Tottenham's remaining fixtures.
Yeah, give me Tottenham's remaining fixtures.
Okay, Tottenham's remaining fixtures. So this weekend they've got Villa away. Then they've got Brighton at home. Then they've got Brentford away. Then they've got Leicester at home. Then they've got Liverpool away. Then they've got Arsenal at home. And the last 2 games of the season is Burnley at home and Norwich away. And then if I go to Arsenal, just to give you an idea, bear with me 2 seconds.
We've got Brighton this weekend.
Arsenal they've got Brighton at home, Southampton away, Chelsea away, Man United at home, West Ham away, Leeds at home, Tottenham away, Newcastle away, and then Everton at home last game of the season.
Right.
As much as they are bigger games, I would also like to say that half of them games, literally half of them games, are around everyone we're competing with.
Yeah.
Unlike everyone else, Man United, Tottenham and West Ham, as you said, and even Chelsea, they've got to play everyone else, but we're the ones that are playing all of them.
The top 4 as it is now is the top 4 for the end of the season.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I don't see Arsenal finishing in the top 4. Based with them 2 injuries and their last remaining fixtures, and the fact that they have to play.
Okay, so say we beat Chelsea, which we've proven that we can do over the past few seasons, especially. Man United and their inconsistency.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, Tottenham Arsenal is always going to be a high scoring game, and it can go either way. It's one of them. Say we pick up 9 points in them 3 fixtures that are with the ones that we are competing for with. Do we make it into your top 4 then?
Nope.
No.
No.
Oh, shit. Shit. That went peak very quickly.
Nope. You can try and convince me all you want, lad. It's not going to work.
And I'm going to go out.
It was just hypothetical because, as I said, you're going to see a very stressed out clown like between now and then. And like, obviously, I said, yeah, we are in pole position, but the league is not over by a long shot. Like the last 10 games, regardless relegation, mid-table, European places, and even as we're now well aware, the title. There's just so many races and so many moving parts in all of this that it's not actually the case. Like you're sitting there going like we were 5-10 years ago, like, well, them 3 are fucking relegated. Them 4 have clearly got Champions League spots. And no one ever gave a shit about the Europa League spots because they were never big enough teams to compete for them. So for me, I think it is just a case of
draws than anything else.
What was that, Nate?
I see you getting more draws than wins, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Nah, and that's
your wins like Brighton and things like that. They're your wins.
I said to you, I think the thing that's going to tell our season are them 3 games: Tottenham, Chelsea, and United. Now, a lot of people will probably say we won't get anything out of all 3 of them games. And if we don't, then I'm telling you now, we don't finish in the top 4 and we don't deserve to because you've lost them games. But when we played United and we lost 3-2, the only difference between the 2 sides was Ronaldo. That was clearly the difference. When we played Chelsea start of the year with 6 players out with COVID, they were fresh off their heels. They were on the hype of just winning the Champions League. It was never going to help us.
It could go either way still, really, though, when you look at the bigger picture. But
I don't think, based on what I've read, I think top 4 is the only caveat I'm going to put in there, because it's always seems to happen at some point, and not because of them being good, it's just because others being absolute fucking dickheads, is United might squeeze in there somehow.
That's my point. That's the point that you're always going to come back to, is Arsenal can still finish in that top 4, not because Arsenal are good enough, but at the start, well, pretty much throughout the whole of the season, everybody wrote us off. And that's where I feel like it is. As much as other teams have played badly, and I'm not going to hold my hands up and deny that, they have been so inconsistent. But the fact is it's not even the fact that Arsenal have been inconsistent. We have actually been better than the others.
No,
and yes, we've been less inconsistent. But that's the point that I'm now going to come to. With 9 games left, are we still going to base the inconsistency of the other teams right now? And that's why I'm just saying, as an Arsenal fan, as much as we could lose them games, I've also got a hope on what I've seen all season. And that's Tottenham dropping points against stupid opposition. Man United not even being able to, well, they don't even know who their squad is when it comes to naming it, let alone when they're playing. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, you might count us out, and yes, with the games and stats and everything, we probably do look out of it, but their inconsistency have cost them all season. So let's just hope that they carry on, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I agree. I said, if from what you see, let's hope Monday was a blip, just a blip.
Yeah.
A bad day.
Monday was unorthodox.
Yeah, bad day.
It was totally out of the blue.
And they continue. However, what I'll say is I think whether they react or not from this weekend and the game from the weekend. And obviously, if they follow up with another defeat or even a draw, and then there's a gap start to form, does that start to impact them? Does that start to have a thing? And that start to tell a bit of a picture? And I'm only basing this, like Nutty is, based on fixtures alone. If I was going to pick, I would say Tottenham got the better chance of doing it, just based on fixtures alone. That's what I'm saying. Based on the fixtures alone, not that Arsenal haven't been good or Arsenal haven't had the, thing. They've been until the Liverpool game, they were doing really well. Until that Liverpool game, I think they were like 11, 12 and beaten, weren't they? Something like that.
And that's what I mean. Monday night was just so unorthodox. How do we go playing so well against Liverpool, that game against Man City, to literally just being slapped across the park for 90 minutes? And that's literally what it was. Crystal Palace turned up with like a dog wanting a bone, and they did not stop the whole game. Yes, we became a lot more dominant in the second half, but when you're 2-0 up against Arsenal at home, what are you going to do? Go and search for a third, or sit back and just know that you can defend off that 2-0 lead? And that's where I feel like it went wrong. But for a team that's not conceded from set pieces all season, to concede from 2 bloody shit free kicks, I might like to add, it was unorthodox. We don't concede more than 1 or 2, and yet we got slapped off the park. And yeah, injuries didn't help that. It's just,
Okay, so
it was definitely a bad night for me. I can tell you that now.
So chat. I speak to you guys on chat. I think Clown put it right. There is, for once, we've got so many different battles going on in the league, from a relegation point of view to a Champions League spot to the Premier to who's going to win the Premier League. And normally coming onto this part,
so does that mean that we're now get onto you?
Get onto me.
Yeah, now we can get onto you. Now you've spoken all crapness about my team, we can start talking about a title challenge, which the 6-pointer this weekend.
And that's it. And I said it last week, and I'll say it again. I don't think this weekend's result is going to decide anything either way.
Oh, no, but I definitely believe it puts whatever team in good stead to goddamn win it.
No, because I think if Liverpool win, they're only 2 points ahead of City.
Yeah, I don't care what anyone says. With the performances and runs that you two have literally gone on this season and previous, probably the last 2 years, this game will decide it, I believe. And that's because I believe that both of you are good enough to win, the remaining 7 games after this?
Yeah. I think you've got Champions League to think about, though.
Oh, no, Champions League, put that aside. That's a whole different competition for me.
No, but I think it impacts the fixtures. So,
it impacts your squads, and if you're going to come back to this, there's squads bigger than yours, then we're going to keep
that. I'm just saying we've got, so don't worry, we're 3-1 up against Benfica already. So will he feel he'll still?
The point I'm trying to make is I believe Man City after this game can win the remaining 7.
Yeah.
Liverpool after this Sunday can win their remaining 7.
Yeah.
Which then would technically put you in exactly the same position you are now, a point dividing you, which is why I believe whoever wins this, and if it's a draw, I think it's Man City's. The only way I see Liverpool winning this is if you win on Sunday and then Man City go, tell you what, we definitely want that Champions League now.
I think
because that would put the Premier League up in the air. And let's face it, Man City have been used to having a lot more gap than what they're used to this season.
Yeah. And I think, like you said it in last week's show, I think Pep wants the Champions League more than the Premier League.
Oh yeah, no, I said it last week as well. I think Pep really does want to. He had his best chance last season, And I think everyone will honestly say that you got all the way there, and for that performance against Chelsea, when even everyone else counted Chelsea out,
Yeah.
it was, yeah. That's why I just really think this season Pep has kept the Premier League at that arm's length with Liverpool, and he's gone, do you know what? At the moment, we're safe. It doesn't matter what we do. As long as we're safe and as long as every weekend passes, we're still number one. It doesn't matter what the result was. And so performances might not have warranted the results that they've had. Let's face it. Granted, they've dipped in form recently, which has let you back in. But once again, you two are just on such a different level compared to the rest of maybe even the rest of Europe right now. And I'm talking about the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, Bayern Munich. You two are literally up there right now. And
Is that hurting you to
yeah,
say that?
that's why I believe this Sunday is going to be the pivotal, because I believe both teams have what it takes to win the remaining other 7 games happily.
Did it hurt you to say that about Liverpool?
It doesn't hurt me to say that about Liverpool. Obviously, I always said to you, my point of being here, yes, I'm an Arsenal fan, and yes, I get
Yeah, no, I
heated
know.
when you all want to slag off my team. But I'm here as a football fan, the same as
Yeah.
you two. It's one of them that it's nice to actually just talk football, not just about my team, but the sport that brings us all together year after year after year, and actually talk about what beauty it brings as much as the heartache that we all feel and stuff like that. It's bants, it's tears, it's happiness. Jesus, it's everything
what's
that
your
we
opinion
need.
on this weekend's game? Decider, not decider?
I think it is a decider, to be fair. I just think whoever wins, it just puts you in that pole position, really. And then it just, I mean, when you look at the remaining fixtures, do you see Man City winning the rest of them? Yes. Do you see Liverpool winning the rest of them? Yes. I think it is. I think it's the decider myself.
Okay.
I really do.
And that's the way, yeah.
And I think
pretty much.
the
We
first
all win
mistake
your
is what
games, they
cost the
say
other team
1
the
point
league.
ahead.
What was that, Nutty?
So, say for instance, Liverpool beat Man City the weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously, I predict that both of you will win your remaining fixtures.
It leaves Liverpool remaining at the top by 2 points.
And I believe, obviously, any mistake after that costs either Man City the league or you the league. If you make the mistake, I think that's it. Man City catch you. I think if you make the mistake, if you win, then you get caught again. I think the Sunday decides the league in terms of top spot, and then I think whoever's second has to hope on the team in first to make a mistake and drop points somewhere. And I think that's how the remainder of the season will go. So I strongly believe whoever wins on Sunday wins the league, and it comes down to who makes a mistake first.
Okay. And continuing on from that, obviously this weekend we had a midweek, we had a Champions League. So, the route for Liverpool won 3-1 against Benfica. Villarreal pulled off a brilliant result against Bayern at home, winning 1-0, which obviously Liverpool played the winners of that game, or
Yeah,
Liverpool Benfica played
that's
the winners.
well aware. Bayern will happily take any team back to their ground and smash
get that.
5-0.
I get that, Clown. 100%. I'm with you. I'm not saying it's a done and dusted.
No, it's a good result. Like you said,
it's a good result for them
the fact that they pulled that off in front of their own fans as well will be a memory that all of them will hold. It's one of them ones, isn't it? You sit there like you as a Liverpool fan, you still remember that AC Milan feeling.
Yeah.
It's one of them. Yeah.
So I still say, okay, I don't see Benfica come to Anfield scoring 3 goals. So I say Liverpool go through. I just don't see it.
Once again, you've done the dirty work, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've literally got it sorted, and now it means that the second leg in 2 weeks, you get to literally maybe play 1 or 2 less starters and keep up the fight in the Premier League.
Villarreal, again, doing really well in the Champions League. Obviously, they've got to go to Bayern. Like Clown said, it's a tough place to go to try to keep a clean sheet, to try to defend, or even try and get a win at. So, while I still say Bayern go through, as a Liverpool fan, I hope Villarreal pull it off and we get Villarreal in the semis to play in the semis. Obviously, look at the other spectrum. It looks like Man City game's not over. They're only winning 1-0. They've got to go to Madrid. So I think that tie's still up in the air.
Let's face it, they probably did have the hardest draw out of all of you English teams. And the fact is yes, they did still pull off a 1-0 win, especially after, as we said earlier, their form has started to dip in probably the last 3 weeks. You can start to see the amount of games they've played is now, like you said, starting to creep in. But nah, still 1-0 going back to Real Madrid. No, it's not Real Madrid. Atletico, sorry. Yeah, Madrid. So still going back there with a 1-0. I believe Man City are through. It's yeah.
And I think I don't see Chelsea making a comeback against Madrid being 3-1 down.
Have you seen Benzema's header?
I haven't seen any of the goals, to be fair. I didn't see
Oh my God. I'm not even sure that's actually physically possible to ever do that again. Like, it was pissing it down with rain. That ball was slapped off his head and he still managed to make it look like he had done a chip shot with his bloody foot. Like, oh, what a header. I don't think I've ever seen a header like that since Drogba. Okay,
so again, the last bit, obviously, from this week's show is Ten Hag. I'll start with you, Nutty. Good or bad? Will he make a difference at United?
You'd like to. Hold on. Let me just turn this one off. Yeah, you'd like to think he could. It's a tough one for me with this one because there's too many individual players in Man United in itself, and I think that's one of their biggest downfalls at this moment in time. He's got a lot of work to do. Can he make the changes that needed to be made? I don't know. I think there's too many individuals in that club, and I think that's the root cause of their problem. There's not enough team players.
If you had
he's a good manager.
Of Poch or Ten Hag, who would you pick if you're a Man United supporter? If you were a Man United supporter, I'm saying.
I mean, if I was a Man United supporter, then
Ollie at the wheel. Ollie at the wheel. Ollie at the wheel.
It's Pochettino. It's a no-brainer. I think one of the reasons why they're going with Ten Hag is the release clause as well, because it's like 17 something million for Pochettino, and it's like 2 million for the other guy. I don't know if he can make a difference there with the players. I think there's a bigger problem within the club. I don't think it is the managers. I believe it is the players. You've got too many. There's not enough team players there for me. There's too many individuals.
I agree with that.
I think that's why they're struggling. I really do.
But I go back to what they were saying, and I think Roy Keane said it perfectly. They need a manager who, when the players walk off the pitch off a defeat, are shitting their pants of what's going to happen back in that changing rooms. And again, I don't think Ten Hag is going to be that scary manager or that person who the players are going to be scared of.
Like Ferguson. Out that Ten Hag also works with youth players, and let's face it, Man United's whole squad is outdated.
So what's your opinion on this, Clown?
Is he a good manager? Yeah, you can see that. But no, once again, like Nutty said, like Man United are number one. They're an aged squad, and I hate to say it, most of your aged are actually recent buys. It's not exactly like they've been at United for the last 5 to 10 years playing a career, is it? Literally, your oldest player is what, Cavani and Ronaldo, and they've literally only just got to your club. So what are you doing as a club? But once again, poor man management, I think. And I think this is going to, if I'm going to be honest, bringing him in is going to do Man United good. But I think ultimately it's going to bite Hag in his arse. Like it has, like it did Mourinho, like it did Van Gaal, well, probably not so much Moyes, because I don't think Moyes was up to the task to start with. But yeah, when you hear them top names, and especially in the world of management, Mourinho, Van Gaal, you think these guys have got credentials. And what did any of them return Man United back to their winning ways?
No.
No. And that's how I see Ten Hag. Like, I believe they're going to ship out a lot of players this year.
Yeah.
I can't lie. I think there's going to be a lot. From what I'm hearing, is it by Eric Bailey? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Eric Bailly, yeah.
He's going. Matic, Pogba, Rashford, Cavani, Ronaldo.
Yeah, that's a big chunk. If you look at those players you just named.
That's 7. That's 6 or 7 players that, as far as I would be concerned, like, you should have probably either never bought or what's the word? Or they should be doing more right now. Like Ronaldo, let's face it, Man United thought they were getting Ronaldo from 10 years ago. That's what they realistically thought. But what they got was an older Ronaldo who is still the most clinical finisher in the world of football, but you're still trying to play him and work him like he's 21 still. As Juventus found, Ronaldo ain't making them runs anymore. But tell you what, if I can get someone that can put a ball on a 50p pence and put in them crosses, Ronaldo will fucking do whatever he can to get to that and score. Why? Because it's all about that name, his brand. He doesn't care. All he cares about is winning. And let's face it, that's the mentality that fucking hell, Everton probably wish that they had in their dressing room right now.
Yeah.
But there's no good having someone that is so dedicated to winning that he doesn't even care about what is actually wrong at Man United right now. And you see it in his body language. How many times have you seen Ronaldo this season going,
yeah, and that's what they said about Rashford. Thinking, that's exactly what they said about Rashford.
I see it different from Rashford. Rashford, for me, you have every right to probably feel like that right now because none of these fuckers have ever backed you. And I'm not being funny. Like, when the government went after him after he tried to stick up for the families on low income, they're all trying to tell him, go and fucking start thinking about football, do what you're good at. And then that's just opened it up for fans to now be like, maybe you should go help starving kids again because that's what you're good at. It ain't fucking football. And I'm thinking, and you expect this guy to have confidence to go out and bang, right, like you've known him to do since the first time he walked onto the scene.
Clown, just hold you on that point.
United are not going to be saved by Ten Hag. And plus, Man United do not have the squad that works the way Ten Hag has got his squad at the minute. He works with the youth coming through.
So I'm going to stop you in a minute because United, didn't you say that? Don't you think the impact on Rashford would have been maybe some of the stuff that he's been doing, which is away from football, that has taken away his form?
Of course, because what he's been doing, you know, it's a big challenge for him, you know. But and what he's doing, a lot of people, you got to, you know, 100% respect for the guy. He's helped a lot of families out, a lot of people out as well, and he's been making moves outside of football in what he's been doing. So has that been a distraction? And then obviously, you know, all the stuff going on at the club. There's a lot of factors that could be, you know, he could just genuinely be tired, you know. It could be a number of things. I reckon he's distracted myself.
But I don't think Man United themselves have helped him in any way, shape or form, even with the distraction.
No.
And I'm not talking about just form of the squad. I'm talking about from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
You look at the managers since Alex Ferguson. If Alex Ferguson, back in the day, he'd put an arm around a player and he'd have a good talk to them, like the.
This is the guy that was meant to be the dad of David Beckham and threw a football boot at his head.
But he had no fear. you look at all them big name stars that he had in that dressing room.
Yeah,
And
but how many of them were on the millions that we see on contracts these days? You think about Roy Keane, their best player, Vinicius Roy, David Beckham, Ronaldo's first contract at United. I guarantee you they're missing like 4 zeros on the end of that contract.
100%.
For that
But
time and era, that's what I'm saying. Not because of how good they were. I'm just talking about the era that they came through.
the point I'm getting at, forget the all the money side of things. Ferguson, he had that father-like figure with the dressing room where if you were playing shit, he would tell you, and he had no fear in telling you. He
Good man.
respected the players, and the players respected him. Yeah, they played to his style, and again, he voiced his opinion if it wasn't going his way. So if what was happening now, and Ferguson was still in charge, you can see Ferguson being a sort of manager to take Rashford to one side, talk to me, tell me what's going on, let's work this out, let's work with you to help you. What manager since Ferguson can you say has the potential to done what Ferguson would have done or could have?
Van Gaal was probably the closest one to Ferguson's level that has been at Man United, and even then, I don't think Man United gave him the.
There you go. And what manager did Rashford kind of shine on under Van Gaal? There you go.
Yeah.
Point in case.
Good points to both of you there. Good points. So we come back for the final bit. I'll start with you, Clan. You want to?
Ten Hag will work wonders for Rashford if they keep him. Though I will say that.
Fair enough.
If Rashford stays and Ten Hag comes in, I can guarantee you'll see Rashford come back.
Okay, we'll keep that right. Another note take. Just put a stamp on today. Clan's made a statement, so we'll see whether that comes true if Rashford sticks at United and stays there.
No, but it's what you said. You look at the 6-7 players that they're looking at getting rid of. To me, if you end up keeping Rashford, everyone in his position you're actually getting rid of, because what's his name has already gone, Martial, and that only leaves Ronaldo and Cavani.
Yeah,
so
he's not coming back. His future's done.
Comes in, he's going to keep his one striker.
Yeah.
I know they're looking at Harry Kane. They're looking at swiping him from Man City. So that's why the Tottenham deal has come up at all, because they're looking at a swap deal for Rashford for Kane, whereas Arsenal are looking at buying Rashford outright. So it's one of them. 2 seconds, guys.
Yeah. So while Clan's gone, we'll come to the final segment of today. Nutty, you got a bit of transfer news for us?
Fabio Carvalho of Fulham has agreed everything. Liverpool now, the two clubs have agreed a 5 million fee plus 2.7 million add-ons, 20% future sale fee for Fulham. All the salaries have been decided. There's no loan deal back for Fulham as it stands, and the official statement and official signings will not be done until after the season finishes, as Liverpool want to show respect to Fulham and their current championship campaign.
And
that is the latest.
Liverpool players, but I know because there were rumours a few months back, I think more in January, at the end of Jan, obviously, that for the new season, that Fulham wanted Gomez and Nico Williams at Fulham for the new season in the summer.
According to this particular deal, there's no other deal for any other player confirmed. But as a Fulham fan, I know there are strong rumours that we are going in for a double swoop for Williams and Gomez.
It's not like you don't have the money.
Well, the only thing is Williams has got, I think he's another 5 years left on his contract at Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but him being so young is if you're gonna take him, now would be the time.
Again, I think from his perspective, he's got to look at the bigger picture. He's come to Fulham and he's getting the game time. The only reason he didn't play last night was because he buried his nan yesterday. Other than that, he would have been, in front of Kenny Tete. I think every Fulham fan wants him. I think Fulham want him. I think he's happy playing first team football. Because realistically, when can you see him getting first team football at Liverpool on a regular basis?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to bring up. If I remember rightly, Magic was the one that brought up about Klopp and his favourites back at Christmas. And I said about the likes of these youngsters coming through that I'm really impressed with. And even Magic said to me, but Klopp won't play him.
It's not. They're
You
not
won't
gonna.
see these guys unless it's literally the first maybe 2 or 3 rounds of the Carling Cup or the FA Cup.
Yeah.
That's the only times you'll ever see them, and even then, he would probably still put the likes of Milner in over Williams. And you sat there thinking, really? So, as I said, if there's going to be a time, maybe now. If Klopp doesn't really see him in his immediate plans, then he's more willing to let him go. And Fulham are going to be looking at making a stay in the Premier League from next season. So
I can see you getting Nico Williams. I think, as from what I've seen from this season, he's been playing Gomez more as a right back in replacement of Trent at some times to play at that right back.
well,
Gomez,
the only one that you don't really see much drop in, is it?
yeah,
It changes your whole way it's playing style. I get that, but it's the only one where I see someone else come in for Trent and it's not a complete downgrade, and you sat there going, "Oh my god!"
yeah. Gomez can play at right back. So even if Gomez still did, I don't think it'll be a permanent. I think you might get him for loan, if dependent on what Liverpool do in the summer window.
What were the prices? You know now.
I think Williams is in the 20 million region.
Really, already?
I think so, yeah, because of how long he's got left on his contract. Gomez, I genuinely don't know.
No, I don't.
But I'd
How much
imagine
did Liverpool buy Gomez for?
He came through the youth, I think.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Fair play. Oh, so it's literally just going to be making money on that.
I mean, I know for a fact that I think if Fulham are going to spend money, well, we have to spend money because we have to make some.
See, I don't think
major
you have to
improvements.
spend as much as you think you do.
I do.
We do. I'll tell you now. I think going forward, we can cause teams trouble. We proved that against Man City in the FA Cup. Defensive, we need a very, very, very good centre half to replace Tim Wein. He's just not going to be cut out for the Premiership.
We're selling Nketiah if you're looking.
I'm good.
There'll be a lot of deals happening.
Yeah, we have to spend money. We need a right back. I mean, the difference between watching Williams when he's come in and he's overtook Tete this season at right back. So Tete played last night, and there's a big difference in class, and it proves and it shows. So for me, I'd like to see the board say, "Do you know what? We're going to go out and we're going to get Williams at whatever price it costs." Again, Gomez, I rate him as a player, but I don't see Liverpool wanting to sell him.
Isn't Gomez quite injury prone?
Very injury prone.
Yes.
And if he's going to cost you over 20 million, I don't see that as a good sales.
But yeah, for me personally, we do need to spend money.
No, what I mean by spend money, I don't think you need as many players as like.
Oh no! Listen, like I said, we don't need to go out and do what we've done
a couple of years ago.
When we had all them loan. No, don't need that.
And that's what I mean. I think you need pivotal.
We need a goalkeeper. We need a goalkeeper because I'd like to see Rodak get a shot in the Premier League because he's been outstanding in the Championship, but there's a golfing class between Championship and Premier League.
Well, you don't know until you put him in that scenario, do you? So,
but then our backup keeper isn't great. So definitely a centre back, definitely a right back for me. and I want another striker. We got Muniz, but he's not really done nothing in the championship of sort. I mean, he ain't getting in front of Mitro in the championship. But I feel we need another striker that can bag goals if anything happens to Mitro. Because
I think you need a runner off of him in the Premier League, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. And Muniz is not going to be the guy for that, in my honest opinion.
Probably either number 10 or a number 8.
So I reckon if Fulham was to go out and spend, say, 60 million, I think that'd be a good 60 million on 3 decent players. I'd be happy, and that's my honest opinion.
Okay.
Fair
point. Thank you, Natty. And Clown, you had some bit of obviously not so great footballing moments to bring up from the Scottish Championship.
Once again, something ugly has to rear its head in the world of football, doesn't it? So last week, and Celtic game, and it was brought to my attention that some of the fans thought it would be an amazing job to start throwing glass bottles at the players on the pitch while they were in game. Now, I'm not being funny. If that was in the street, in public, broad daylight, you're probably looking at going to prison. Let's be honest. The fact is I've heard that this guy is literally getting a slap on his wrist when it comes to society, and the club have literally given him the harsher punishment of not allowing him to go to any more football games, home or away. It's disgusting. And it's not the only thing that fans do. And obviously, as I said, it just pokes its head up every week, at least once or twice. And if it's not abuse, then it's racism or it's sexism or it's just all out nastiness. And for a sport that has all 3 of us supporting different teams can come together and have banter and have a good deep conversation about this sport, what the hell is everyone else's problem? Like a glass bottle. If you were doing your job, regardless whether it's being paid millions, take the money out of it. But if you were doing your day-to-day job and someone just walked into wherever you were working and lobbed a glass bottle at your head, is that acceptable? No. So regardless of what your job role is, it's not acceptable in any way, shape or form. Same way that we're trying to stamp out racism. Same way that we're trying to stamp out the sexism in the sport.
Yeah.
It can only be done by us as fans. Let's face it, the players do their take a knee and they do their promotional stuff and red card and stamp out and stuff like that. But realistically, that's their part. They can't do much more than that. It still comes down to us as fans knowing the difference between right and wrong. Now, as England fans, something that we all come under the same roof as, were we disgusted at the crap that Sterling, Mings, and some of the other England players had to deal with during the World Cup and the Euros just gone? Did we not all say it's disgusting?
Yeah.
Same way when, I believe, wasn't it Millwall, I believe, this year, started booing at the players taking a knee for racism. It's disgusting. I don't care who you are. It's disgusting. It's all literally, there is no other word to describe it. You don't belong in this world if that is the way you think. And if you've literally gone from spitting venom from your mouth to literally trying to physically hurt someone, I think it's a step too far.
Cool. Thank you, Clown. So chat, that's it for today. Thank you for everyone that's come today. So, thank you, Froggy, for the raid. Thank you, Gilly, for the elixir. Gaz, King Reaper, Taylor, Dylan, that have all come in. Who else? Luna for the gifted, for coming in today again. Appreciate you all for coming in, joining us and supporting the show. that we're trying to do. And you know, as time goes on, we'll try to grow more and more. We're on the second show back in. So, you know, if you guys got stuff that you want us to bring in as conversation topics, please, you know, message one of us and let us know. I appreciate everyone that came in to show the support today. We'll be back to normal time next week, Friday at 8. There's just 1 week where we had to change time a bit. So again, thank you guys, and we'll catch you on next week's show. Appreciate all of you for coming in.
Thank you, guys.